Hey there folks, a lot of you may have used iWeb in the past, but it depends if you know how to really use it. Now, for instance, I've made a few websites in the past and they were very simple stuff, and they didn't draw in a lot of attention, but then again it was iWeb and I didn't know what I was doing. Even today I would say I'm still a rookie at the whole thing. I don't know how to do a lot of features. A lot of people can get things perfect on the dot. You know, I've even seen on YouTube that people have reconstructed Apple's website within iWeb and it looks bang on perfect. So there's a lot you can do with it. It's just taking the time to learn it and actually put the time and effort into making something. So I've just been faffing around here for probably an hour or two now and just designing something. So I just kind of got a little bit bored and I thought, right, I just want to try and reconstruct, say, an Apple window on that kind of level. So for instance, I was just working on like a login page so that when you come to the website it showed this type of thing where, as you would expect, when you log into an Apple Macintosh computer, it will say welcome such and such, what's your password, you punch in your password and you hit enter, you press the button and away it goes. So I was just gonna let you see what I was doing to show you how to construct your own site effectively in the future, because there's a lot of things that you can do and a lot of tweaking that you can actually do that's quite relatively easy, I would say. So the first thing is I'm just going to raise that up a bit there because it kind of looks a bit too squashed. If I just raise that a little bit more and raise that. Now there's loads of things that could help you to make websites in the future. So I've just, sorry about my mouse going off the screen here, I've got my second screen open. I've got this icon which I just quickly made in art text. So it's a bit of software that you can just change things in it, you can do bits and bobs with it. So I'm actually going to drag that into here. Now as you can see, it brings up the icon. It is a transparent icon, so as you can see the background does go through the box, but then I've got this box around it. Now with my activity monitor, I am going to have a lot of my stuff on the other window here. It just makes it so much easier. It just takes a lot of tweaking around, so you can change your actual page, the graphic content. So for instance, I want to take this box off of there, it just leaves me with the proper icon now. So I'm just going to try shrinking that down, and I want to fit that roughly in that location, so it seems to be the right size. So I'm going to delete that old box. One thing with iWeb, you've got to remember that it's a graphical based content, so don't know what I think to that actually. Let's try adding a shadow on it instead. Let's just try playing around with stuff here. So as you can see what I'm doing, I'm just playing around as I'm going along really. Anyway, yeah, iWeb is a graphical based environment, so what you want to try and do is cut things down as much as possible when it comes to pictures that you put into it or loads of icons. Try and get as minimal as possible, because when you actually upload it to the internet and if someone goes to visit, it makes it then a lot easier for them to quickly load in and jump to the next section. So I'm just going to move that out of the window now. So just make sure this is all central. Now one thing that does really come in handy is these guidance lines. So as you can see, that's saying that's central to my actual page there, which I might just leave it as that, so that when someone comes along they'll see that, and then the only thing that they'll have to do is click on the actual button itself. Let me just make sure that's fine there. I think that looks a little bit better there. Let me just move it down one notch. There we go. So yeah, it's quite that simple. So I do have my second page here, so I don't know what I'm going to do with all these pages just yet, but I've made myself like a little Apple doc. I was going to make it that only certain members can go through there, and then try and get some sort of graphical interface that when you click on these folders it may bring up something or take you to a special page to do certain items. So for instance, if you click on Twitter, it may load up a page with my current Twitter feed with a link to subscribe and follow. Same with YouTube. Mail, probably the same with email, that you can send me messages or maybe leave messages on the page. The Finder, I'm probably going to have that as my home button. So this may be my home page, but I'm trying to think what am I doing here. Maybe like bullet titles, top titles that's going on. Maybe have an iMovie or a DVD disc showing down here for my current videos. Blog button, there'll be all sorts to it. So actually I'm going to rename this to home. One thing you may want to do as well, when it comes to posting a website in the future, you want to try and adjust these so it makes it as simple as possible. You don't want to have it like 100 letters, because what you show on the internet is what you'll get on that side of things. So now what I'm going to do here anyway, on this main page, just to finish things off, I'm going to select that and I'm going to go to this little button here. We are going to enable it as a hyperlink and we're going to make it to one of my pages. So we'll tell this to go to home page. Same with the button, enable it as a hyperlink and we're going to make it one of my pages and to the home button. And if we go enable, there we go. So now I clicked on the arrow there, and if I click on the actual other stuff, still takes me there. I'm not too sure if I'm going to make these buttons just set. I might actually, I think I will. In fact, let's open Inspector again and let's tell it to make it as a hyperlink, one of my pages to login page. There, so if we go, it'll take us back to there. So like it shuts down the computer, you could say, that kind of thing. But yeah, there's loads that can be done with this. So the next thing that I was going to do is actually I want to delete that because we want to make it so that we're open on this page. What we'll try and do is we'll try and make it like we have the divider between the stacks and the dock. Now you've just got to remember a lot of this stuff can be quite simple. So for instance, let's have a line. And what we want to do is probably put it at the rough angle. I would say a little bit more. Probably want to go actually even more, in fact. Yeah, that could be right there. So we'll do that, and again, Inspector. And then there's a one function in here somewhere that you can change what the line is going to be like. So let's have it as that. Let's make it quite big, because for instance when it comes to the dock, you normally, by the looks of it on my dock anyway, it's got 7 dashes to it. So let's just make this a little bit smaller. Yeah, that should do actually. Let's change the color. So we've got a color grid here. And let's just tone it down just so it's not so revealing. I'd say that's about right. So there is a lot of stuff you can do. So for instance, that just goes over the edge. I just want to cut that down just a little bit. There we go. And I think we'll cut the other end down just a little bit. Now, if you do want a bit more of an accurate reading compared to having actually, that looks quite nice with 4 dots. Yeah, that looks alright. So yeah, that looks pretty funky. As I said, I'm still unsure what I'm going to do, but I'm just taking ideas from my computer. So for instance, here's my Finder window. So obviously I'm running OS X Lion, so what I might do is put something up the top here, just like they've done with that. I don't think I'm going to do any of these type of buttons. I think that's a bit too much for something like this. Now I might put a search function, because I know that you can actually have a search function. Where is it? But the thing is, it will only search for certain things. It's somewhere in here. I can't remember where it is though. It's the same if you open up a new page, and let's say have a blog. Choose that one. just move these out of the way. I'm just going to put these back to the normal places just to play around with them later on. So let's just, for instance, you can have like search functions like these, but they will only work for certain things. It'll only, if I remember right, it only works for RSS subscribe. So then it can search through your own blog functions. I am going to have my own blog in here. Well, for instance, my old website will be moved over into this. So it just gives you a rough idea of how to do things. Now, a lot of these, say like buttons, they can be a bit more difficult. You could probably, if you took the time to get them exactly like they are, but it's just a bit more difficult. And there is a way you can make rollovers, but you have to implant images, give them internet text, so then they upload another image. It was a bit more of a process, but it can be done. Right, let's see if we can try and work on something. So let's say how could we do this? I'm just thinking to have something in here. Actually, let's just get our video function. Now, a lot of the time, to be honest with you, Google is your best friend at this. If you want to try and get images sorted out, for instance, these two images, you know, I couldn't make them, and they are official images of Twitter and YouTube. So I thought, well, I might as well just use their own system. So Google comes into hand for those. So let's just go Google Images. I'm just going to type in, say, DVD. Just see what there is. If there's anything interesting. Now you want to remember again, less of an image is better in this type of situation. So I don't want to be having something where it's got a picture of a DVD tray. No, there's not much there. So let's try the official Apple logo. So in this case, iMovie would be quite a good logo. Actually, here's a perfect one, in fact, I would say. So here we go. This is just the internet page here. That'll do perfectly. I'm going to save it to my downloads, and I'll minimize that for the meantime. Let's go back to downloads. Let's have a quick shufty at this picture. Oh, wrong picture. There we go. So now what you'll notice with this, it does have a white background. So if I actually move this in here right now, it's going to have this white background, so it's not transparent, which can become a bit of a pain. Now, a lot of the time in the past, if you wanted to try and get rid of it, it would be a nightmare. Either you'd have to know what you're doing with Photoshop or some other bits of photo editing programs to try and get rid of the white. But to be honest with you, on a Mac, it's quite easy. As long as you have your program, just basically open that up, tell it to open in preview. So as you can see, every computer has preview and it's loaded in. So this is now a transparent background here, and then you've got your white background here. Now there will be a function that you can spread things out if you wish to, but under this little box with the arrow, select that, and there's something called I think it's Instant Alpha you want to use. You want to just click and you want to drag, and whatever goes red will be deleted. So you just keep on pulling across until you get it just right to what you want, and then press backspace. Yep, duplicate as PNG. Just a feature of Mac OS X Lion. So there we go, gives you that image. So now if I close this, it'll tell me to save it. So now it should be on my desktop, which is over here. I'm just going to move that onto my other screen. And what I can now do is drag that in. Still gives it a border, but remember we can get rid of that. And there we go. It's now got a transparent background to it. So that's actually one little good tip for anyone that's wanted to try and make a website. I can shrink that down. I think I want to have it a bit smaller. I think probably even just a little bit smaller. So as I said, it takes a lot of patience with this, just tinkering around with stuff, playing around with it and see how things go. So next page anyway, so we've got now a blog. I'm gonna delete a lot of this stuff because it's something I don't want. Try not to use Apple's own standard stuff, because then people can see it's been made in iWeb, whereas if you tinker around with it, there's a lot more of a chance it's a bit more unrecognizable. I don't know what to put in there. I'm still thinking about that. That can stay as that. I wouldn't mind actually having the Apple logo further down, which in this case we can sort out. Let's say if we go new page, just open up this one. Oh, it's not there. Okay, let's just go new site. There we go, that's the logo I want, so I'm just going to copy. Actually, can I move that into a different folder? Don't know if I can, don't think it did. That's great. Anyway, let's delete that site. Actually, that sounds like a good idea, having a little bit about myself, in fact. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. So let's say we're just going to do a bit of work on this page. So for instance, like here on Apple's example, they're saying my boarding playlist, local report, resorts links, and my photo albums, all that type of stuff. So let's have a little function here where I might have a few photos of myself. Let's see what we've got. So just bear with me here. I'm just going to look through my folder. Now certainly this is where it comes down to you if you want to do any photo tweaking, photo editing, all that type of stuff. So let's say just this photo here, very old photo of mine. I could shrink this extremely down, and I might just dot probably 4 or 5 along these, and just to make it a little bit more interesting, I'm going to change the angle on them just so it's a bit more entertaining. And what I may want to do in this situation is just open up a little text box and have a little link here. Now obviously that looks far too big, so what I'm going to do here is just shrink the whole thing down a little bit. Actually 13 seems about right, because got to remember that we're limiting ourselves to certain space here. In fact, when I think about it, I've got a little bit more of an idea. For instance, when you go to all my files, which we may have that list up here, all my files, then it gives you a little function like this, so it shows your contacts, your images, PDFs, your movies, presentations, everything like that. I do something similar, the same there, so that says my photos. So let's just leave that as it is. Let's get some more photos. I must admit I don't have many good photos. Let's drag that in there. Right, let's just make sure this can work out the same size. There we go. There. So then what you can also then do in the future is that you can then have it so that these can be clicked, people can then open them up and view them a lot easier. So there's all these little things that you can do, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have a bit of information about myself in the future, so then that will be the finder page for it. Then it will work on bit by bit. It may also change in the future that they have the names of the what these will do, so that it'll say home, mail, YouTube, Twitter, movies, so on, all that type of stuff. Anyway, I hope this has helped you in some way, but just got to bear in mind you've got to learn to tweak around with this type of stuff. So what I have open on my other window here is literally all these little things. I have my font sections here, so I can just change around between things, change the colors. I have my whole color pad here. Choose which function is best for you. I have used the crayons in the past because it makes it much easier just to get a quick standard color, but certainly if you want a bit more customizing and tweaking on your colors, that's where that will come into it, and you can certainly save your most favorites if you wish to. There's loads of stuff, so that's always handy to have open. Inspector I always keep open as well, because it is the item that you use for everything on this. So for instance, your page this will let you change either, say, like the page name if you want to have a navigation bar, if you want to display it, the layout, so you can change how wide it is, how much the footer is, backgrounds, the photo tweaks. There's all sorts with that. Don't know if it'll let me do something with those. No, and right now RSS feed, that's just something you've got to really learn how to do, all the stuff in the background for that. Again, your text, so you can customize what color, what characters, you can change them to wrap around certain things. There's loads that you can do with this whole system. It just literally takes time. Graphic settings, this is where you can change colors, add lines to its shadows. Shadows can come in handy, but you've just got to bear in mind that they only work with I think it's Firefox and Safari they'll actually show up on. If it's something where someone uses Internet Explorer, they won't actually see the shadows, or it comes out like there's two versions of the image. It's quite weird, so you've got to kind of bear in mind not to put shadows on everything, just in case someone's coming from Internet Explorer. Metrics, so you can change the file name or the sizes of it, rotate it, all sorts of things there. This is your hyperlinks, so enable hyperlinks, select the location if it's going to be to an external page and then put the address in it, or if it's to one of your pages. And certainly you can change the format of links, so once someone clicks on it, it will change to a different color, or when they roll over it change to a different color. And certainly you can put in your own QuickTime videos as well. There's loads more. Certainly you can show your own media, so you can put in Google Maps, images, YouTube videos. These are like quick presets. HTML snippets if you wanted to have counters or something from your own website. Put your own movies in, your photos, your audio, whatever you wanted to. You can actually put all into your site. You can do even a lot more adjustments with your photos and images if you want to change the brightness or the contrast of them. But it just literally means taking some time to play around with it. If you haven't played around with it, it's worthwhile doing, especially if you wanted to make your own website. I would highly recommend it, and it can save you a lot of money if you decide to make your own site compared to paying one of these pre-made company sites where you just basically move your text around. Come in easy, they do very nice standard stuff, but if it's something you're more quality wise you want to change and tweak a lot more, try using iWeb. It'll help out so much more. I do hope this has helped you. If you do have any questions, please post a comment, or you can send me a message on YouTube or even Twitter, and I'll try and answer if I can possibly do it. And certainly I would be very keen to see some of your websites in future. So in the meantime, goodbye.